In the quiet countryside of southern Germany, 1995 was supposed to be an unremarkable year. The Cold War was over, technology was booming, and people were beginning to look toward a brighter, more connected future. Yet, deep within a small Catholic community, a story was unfolding that would horrify priests, terrify villagers, and puzzle medical experts for decades. They called it the Exorcism of Emily Rose, but what really happened to this young woman is something no one has ever fully explained. Was she truly possessed, or was it the darkest failure of medicine and faith colliding in a tragic storm? Emily Rose, whose real name was whispered only in church records, was just 22 years old when the nightmare began. She had always been described as shy, kind, and deeply religious. Neighbors remembered her as the girl who volunteered at Sunday school and never raised her voice in anger. But around the winter of 1994, something started to shift. At first, it was subtle. She began waking up in the middle of the night, drenched in sweat, claiming that she felt a crushing weight pressing on her chest. Friends brushed it off as stress, perhaps from her university workload. Yet within weeks, her symptoms escalated into something no one could ignore. She started experiencing violent convulsions, her body thrashing uncontrollably as if invisible hands were tossing her around. Doctors initially diagnosed her with epilepsy, but medication didn't help. In fact, it only seemed to make her episodes worse. Soon, she began speaking in guttural voices that weren't her own. Witnesses swore she could mimic Latin phrases perfectly, despite never having studied the language. Her parents began to panic, and whispers spread through the community that Emily was no longer fighting a medical condition, but something far darker. By the spring of 1995, Emily had stopped eating. Her once bright eyes grew hollow, and her frame became skeletal. But what terrified her family most wasn't her physical decline. It was the way she looked at them. Priests would later testify that her gaze could turn ice cold in an instant, filled with such hatred it was almost inhuman. She claimed that demons were inside her, clawing at her soul. Some nights she would scream for hours, begging them to leave. Other nights, she would fall eerily silent, crouching in the corner of her room like a wild animal, eyes darting back and forth as if she was watching something no one else could see. The local bishop was eventually contacted, and after a private assessment, he approved an exorcism. The ritual began on a stormy night in September 1995. Two priests armed with crucifixes, holy water, and centuries-old prayers entered her bedroom. What happened inside that room is still debated today. According to eyewitnesses, the moment the prayers began, Emily's body contorted into impossible shapes. Her back arched so violently that bones cracked, yet she did not cry out in pain. Instead, she laughed, a low, chilling laugh that no one believed came from her. Priests later swore she spoke in multiple voices at once, some deep and male, others hissing in foreign tongues. She is said to have shouted names, Cain, Nero, Judas, even Hitler, claiming their spirits tormented her. One priest reported that she growled, "We will never leave. She is ours." The exorcism continued for months, with over 40 documented sessions. During these rituals, Emily reportedly displayed unnatural strength, breaking wooden restraints and flinging objects across the room with ease. She went days without food, yet still screamed with energy that seemed to defy her frail body. The most chilling account came during one October session, when she allegedly levitated several inches off the bed while priests prayed over her. The event terrified witnesses, but none dared to stop. By December, Emily's body was failing. Her weight had dropped dangerously low, and she was barely able to speak. But when she did, her words shocked even the most devout believers. She told her priests that her suffering was not meaningless, that she bore the torment of possession to prove that demons still exist. She claimed her death would serve as a warning to a world that no longer believed in evil. These words would haunt those present for the rest of their lives. On December 12, 1995, Emily Rose was found dead in her bed. Her official cause of death was malnutrition and exhaustion. Yet the church insisted her death was the tragic end of a spiritual war. The priests who conducted her exorcisms stood trial, accused of negligence and manslaughter. Prosecutors argued Emily had been a victim of untreated medical conditions, epilepsy, psychosis, and possibly schizophrenia. But the defense presented the chilling recordings of her exorcisms, where her distorted voices and violent outbursts filled the courtroom with dread. The jury was divided. Science demanded one explanation, but faith whispered another. Ultimately, the priests received suspended sentences, a compromise between medicine and religion. But the question lingered: was Emily Rose a sick young woman failed by her doctors, or was she truly possessed by something no human power could cure? The case has since become one of the most famous modern exorcisms in history, inspiring films, books, and endless debate. To this day, experts dissect the evidence. Skeptics point to neurological disorders, arguing her seizures and hallucinations created the illusion of possession. Believers counter with the eyewitness testimonies of levitation, unnatural strength, and impossible knowledge of ancient languages. Neither side has been able to fully silence the other. And perhaps that is what makes Emily Rose's story so terrifying. It straddles the line between reality and the supernatural. If it was only medical, then how do we explain the phenomena dozens of witnesses claim to see? If it was truly demonic, then what does that say about the unseen forces that might still lurk in the shadows of our world? Nearly 3 decades later, the story of Emily Rose continues to haunt those who hear it. Some call it the greatest exorcism case of the 20th century. Others dismiss it as tragedy fueled by superstition. But one fact remains. In 1995, a young woman suffered a torment so profound that not even doctors, priests, or science itself could explain it. Her story serves as a chilling reminder that some mysteries are darker than we can ever imagine. Because when faith and science clash, when medicine fails and rituals take over, the line between the natural and supernatural blurs, and sometimes it swallows its victims whole. So what do you believe? Was Emily Rose the victim of mental illness, or did she truly fall prey to forces beyond our comprehension? One thing is certain, her story is not easily forgotten. If this haunting tale kept you on the edge of your seat, make sure to like this video, share it with someone who loves dark mysteries, and subscribe for more chilling true stories that the world can't stop talking about. Because next time, the horror might not be a story from the past. It could be something much closer to home.